Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
I don't know if I've ever shared this story on here, but here goes. If you've heard it before, people probably have heard it. That's for me, it was a funny story. Not so funny in the moment. But I have an office outside of my house. I actually bought a house 25 years ago that I converted to office space. It's way more space than I need. The house is it's a 100-year-old house. I think it was built in 1915. It's got white siding on it. It's not great, but it's an older house. But there's a part of it, and I think this is why it's got white siding on it, is they built a new addition to it. And my offices are up in the new addition. It's up over the garage. And anyhow, it's relatively new. It's got new paneling and got a new heating system, and it's okay. It's not great. I keep telling my wife, yeah, I'd like to get something different. But you know what? I own it. So I got no payments on it, and yeah, so it is what it is. So at any rate, I'm at my office one day. I'm sitting up here doing work, and I go to leave my office to head to the older part of the building, and the doorknob broke. I mean, the doorknob didn't, the handle didn't come off, but the mechanism that turned the doorknob broke. And so I can't open the door. And I'm just kind of looking at this door, and it's like, all right, what am I going to do? Now, I have tools at the office. I'm relatively handy. I own the place next door, so there's always something to fix. And I do have tools at the office, but they're on the other side of the door. They're on the other side of the door. So I'm just kind of sitting there. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not panicked. I don't have anywhere to go. My life, there's not a fire. My life's not in danger or anything like that. So it's, it's not there's no real reason to panic. Although if I really thought about it, I guess I could have. But eventually using some tools I had here, and a nail file and a pen that was, whatever. I got it to work. I got the doorknob off, made the mechanism work, opened the door, and laughed and bought it a whole new doorbell. Or not doorbell, but a whole new doorknob. But the reason I tell that story is things break, right? I mean, I would not have expected that doorknob to break. This is an older house, and there's a lot of doors where, yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all that it broke or it stopped working. And so, things in houses break. I've had outlets that just go bad. I didn't know that was a thing. I've had faucets that break down. Things break. And I share this story as kind of a metaphor to relationships. Your relationships are kind of like a house. There's always something going wrong in a house, right? There's always something breaking down. Last summer I'm thinking, okay, I got issue with the gutter. Didn't need to be replaced. It just needed a little TLC, a little fix it to it. Front door needs to be painted. It's like every year there's a list of small projects that need to be dealt with, and sometimes they're bigger projects. Sometimes they're just bigger things that you need to deal with. And it's much like our relationships, our personal relationships and our professional relationships. From time to time, things just be, they need a little TLC. They wear, they've got a little wear on them. They may not totally break. It might not be a total thing where just, the marriage just breaks overnight. I mean, I know those things happen, but it might not even be, little things where a marriage or a professional relationship break down entirely. But there are just these tensions, these uneasiness to them, an uneasy tension to the situation, and the intent of this podcast this episode is really twofold. Is one, to maybe three. One, just recognize these things happen. Just as things go bad in your house, the drawer won't open, or the handle doesn't work well, or the toilet doesn't flush. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And if you lived anywhere for any length of time, you realize that that is just the nature of a house. And that same thing with relationships. That great relationships, they get sideways with each other. We all have competing interests in our lives, and those things change. And other people have competing interests as well. And so you might be going along just swell with somebody, and something changes in their life. Maybe they didn't get a good night's sleep. Maybe there's some sort of financial pressure, or, hey, we need to have this conversation with mom and dad about moving into a home, and you're kind of bringing that stuff into the workplace with you, or you're bringing stuff home that happens at work. And so these sorts of things, these things happen. And the second point is there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can really do to prevent them. So what you need to do is become better at dealing with them. Just recognizing, just accepting, yeah, these things happen. Nothing you've done necessarily, maybe. Not necessarily anything wrong with the other person. It's just things get out of whack from time to time, kind of like my doorknob, and it just needs some work. Well, that just needed to be replaced. But you get my point, that these things happen from time to time, and we do run into conflict. The third thing I want to talk about quickly is I want to talk about tomorrow's guest, certified relationship coach, Dana Shea, and she's going to talk about conflict in relationships, and how conflict can really be a good thing for us, how we can learn through it, and how maybe avoiding conflict isn't a good thing for harmony in our relationship. So tune in tomorrow to that'll be episode 810. To listen to my interview with Dana Shea, certified. I've already done the interview. It's a great interview, great conversation. So I encourage you to listen in. I encourage you to fix the little things in your house. Right? Outlet, go fix it. If you need to hire somebody, go hire somebody. Fix the doorknob. Those things are going to break. Don't get mad. Same thing with your relationships, is that things are, there might be an issue. There might be an issue with your boss. There might be an issue with the vendor that wasn't there yesterday or 10 minutes ago. These things happen. We're all kind of operating in our own little worlds, and different things bother us, and you just need to deal with them.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today, and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.